It is a much cooler day across the Mid-South after Tuesday brought upon the region the highest temperatures and the highest heat indices so far this year. We did hit 100 degrees yesterday in Memphis. We had a heat index of around 115, if not a little bit higher in some local surrounding spots. But now we are back in a much more seasonal pattern. Maybe cool isn't the best word to describe it, but 84 degrees feeling like 88 compared to yesterday at this time where we were at about 94, feeling like 108. It is definitely a welcome change. 69 for the dew point. Still a little bit of humidity, a margin here of about 4 or 5 degrees between the actual temperature and the feels like temperature is expected throughout later this afternoon. But winds out of the northeast at 15 miles per hour sustained is certainly giving us a nicer breeze and definitely stifling temperatures from rising too much higher, at least for most of the area. We are going to be a little bit warmer here, looking towards the south and west in the Delta and throughout much of Mississippi, where the heat index is ranging from up north in the mid 80s to the upper 90s in spots like Clarksdale at this time. That is because the front that has moved through the region, or at least most of the region, is now stalling out here to the point where there is a bit of moisture hanging around, some humidity just in the immediate vicinity of where it is currently positioned, just in the southeastern corner of the area. And that is enough here for some of those regions that are either out ahead of where that is located or just pretty much straddling the line to see some locally higher measurements when it comes to those temperature and feels like temperature readings. But overall, it is still going to be better than yesterday all across the region. We'll have a little more cloud cover and maybe just a few little sprinkles as a result here of where that cold stationary front is located, which you can see on this sort of still scan of our clouds and radar, a little bit of convection that is popping up and resulting in a little bit of rain in Middle Tennessee. I generally think will be dry here, or at least dry compared to the last couple of days, maybe a few sprinkles, no storms, as we are looking at a heat index that is still present, but mid-90s. We will definitely take it here in Memphis after yesterday's 115 plus reading. Now, because of the location here of Clarksdale just to the south of where that front is located, and because we still have yesterday's hot weather available in some parts of Mississippi, we do have just 2 counties there, Quitman and Coahoma, within a sort of heat advisory that does last until later on this evening, where they do think maybe we could get above 100 degrees for that heat index, but it still is not going to be quite as bad as yesterday, as we should see here within Memphis and areas pretty close to the metro, about 90 degrees. A little bit further to the north is where I think the 80s will be more dominant, mostly sunny skies, just a 10% chance of rain. Again, just a few sprinkles. Maybe we up that to about, say, 20% or so for areas through further closer to central Mississippi, where we do have some of those heat advisories in effect. But it looks like the next couple of days are going to keep things relatively dry. Tropical storm Bertha, while not too far away, you can see this pretty much is about the distance from the northwestern corner of Mississippi and DeSoto County all the way down to where it meets the coastline, is the center of the system right now. But very weak storm and convection that is pretty much entirely over the open Gulf there ensures that even close by areas along the Gulf Coast are not going to see too many impacts out of this, at least for the immediate term. The track here going to bring it pretty much directly across the coastline and then into parts of southeastern Texas, only weakening further, and direction that is definitely putting the Mid-South nowhere near any sort of risk zone for any impacts. Mostly clear for tonight, as we do have those temperatures finally falling down a bit further. We had a very warm start this morning, which may have fooled some of us into thinking we have another hot day ahead, but it's only going to be around that seasonal range. And finally tonight we are getting back down, even in some spots, to the upper 60s for those lows. I think we will drop maybe just another degree or so further on Thursday, but that is definitely going to be where we bottom out here, somewhere in the upper 80s to lower 90s, as we do expect those temperatures to start rising again through the weekend, slowly but surely. I think we'll be back in that mid-90s range by Sunday, following a little bit of a higher rain chance on Saturday. As you can see, though, 30% being the highest percentage on this graphic. I think this is going to end up being the driest overall 7-day forecast period we have had so far this month, as even when the temperatures do get higher, those rain chances still look a little low. Maybe a heat index of